to you all. And you are welcome on our program, Lord, Make Me a Virtuous Woman. Today we will continue on the virtues or the qualities of a virtuous woman found in the book of Proverbs chapter 31, verse 27. Proverbs chapter 31, verse 27 reads, "She looks well to the ways of her household." It is important to note how this virtuous woman in the book of Proverbs 31 verse 27 demonstrates a very rare quality, which is faithful guardian of our home. So a virtuous woman is a faithful guardian of our home. That is the quality we are going to explore today. Although this virtuous woman is very busy meeting the needs of her family and investing in business to secure a better financial future, yet she looks very well to the ways of her household, the Bible testifies. What does it mean to look well to the ways of her household? A virtuous woman is like the umpire of a game. Just as the umpire acts as a judge in the event of a dispute in the field of play and sees to it that the rules of the game are observed by all players, so the virtuous woman ensures peace and harmony in her household. She ensures that family reputation is jealously guarded and an atmosphere conducive to individual development and growth is maintained. She holds each member responsible for playing his or her roles, ensures that members respect and observe family rules, and deviants receive just and equitable punishment for their action. It is the responsibility of a virtuous woman in the home to make sure that the rules and regulations guiding the home are respected, especially by our children. To make sure that there are principles in the home, good principles that the children must follow. She's a guardian to her children and others. That is what the Bible says. She can be compared to a guard dog that watches his master's house. As a guardian, she makes sure that the simple, happy rules in the family are kept by all the children and relatives who live under the same roof. She's not a laissez-faire who allows everything to take its course and neglects to watch out for any abnormality that may be gradually creeping into the home. For example, if the family has agreed to shut the door to the house by 10 p.m., she sees to it that all her household abides by that rule. She does not just assume that everybody is obeying the rule. She checks to be sure that all her children, as well as other relatives living in the house, are present by the hour. She takes nothing for granted as far as discipline in love of her household is concerned. She's a guardian of her household. She doesn't just leave things just to satisfy the children or satisfy anybody and allows everybody to do as they like. No. It is the work of the virtuous woman to watch and be sure that there is comfort, of course, in the house, but that the simple rules that contribute to the happiness of everybody, those simple rules are guarded and they are kept by our children and even by relatives that are living with them at home. She is careful to watch out for any warning signs of rebellion and deviant behavior among members of our household. Through association with classmates and friends, adolescent children sometimes exhibit behaviors inimical to their future. A virtuous woman quickly detects this change in behavior in her child because she observes well and probes gently to discover the problem facing that child. Thus, she may come immediately to the aid of that child by clarifying issues, patiently giving good advice, and helping to snatch the inexperienced and helpless child from the hands of the devil. Many children have been abused and molested by other members of the family, close relatives, and members of the church without the knowledge of their parents. It is the duty of every woman to be a guardian to her children. A mother must create an atmosphere of trust wherein a child can feel secure and free to report to her any unusual behavior from others towards him or her. It is a lack of responsibility on the part of a parent to treat lightly the worries, fears, or display of abnormal behavior observed in a child without carefully seeking to know and help that child out of his or her dilemmas. Being neglectful of one household is a sin. That is why James 4:17 says, "Therefore to him that knows to do good and does it not, to him it is sin." How many children will have been saved from evil influences? How many feet of children will have been stayed from wandering away from the right path if the parents, especially the mother, the virtuous woman, has taken into consideration this quality of being a faithful guardian of our home. It is the responsibility of every woman, even when we are professional women and we are working outside of our home. We must still make out time to be faithful guardians of our home, to make sure that we know what is happening in the life of each member of our family. We need to know what is happening to our children. What has happened as he has come back from school? What has happened in the school today? How has he learned his or her lesson? What are the worries? What are the challenges that child has faced during the day? What are the changes that we are able to observe, maybe in his behavior or in his way of keeping to himself or doing something strange, unusual? It is a woman who is a guardian of our home, who can easily detect when a child has a problem. When a child is beginning to follow bad gangs in school, have bad influence, and there is behavioral changes, it is a virtuous woman with this quality who will be able to detect on time and come to the aid of that child. Help the child to know that this is a bad way to go, a bad thing to do, and this is a good way to go. But many times, children plunge deep into evil habits before parents can even detect, and becomes a problem to save them from that situation. An adolescent girl, beautiful young girl that is just growing and is already having advances from male counterparts, or her friends in school are suggesting things to her, and she's worried, she's troubled, she wants to know what is the way, what do I do? But she doesn't even have the courage to speak maybe to anybody. And she keeps to herself, but you can read worry on her face. You can see that she's not very comfortable with something. It takes a virtuous woman with this quality, a woman who is a guardian of her home, to dictate that something is worrying my daughter, and patiently enter into her world, to ask questions, and to create a conducive environment in which that child can open up her mind and discuss those things that are disturbing, or ask questions. And then a virtuous woman, a wise woman, will not scream at a child, will not name call, will not be angry, but patiently understand the situation and see how to snatch her daughter a word from the hand of the devil. This is the work of a virtuous woman. The virtuous woman also has to be a guardian, because even in the home where we live, Satan may be lurking to devour our words. So it is our responsibility to guard against the plans of the devil. I have met many adolescents who were sexually abused by their cousins, their relatives who are living with them in the same house. But unfortunately, the parents do not even know. Especially the mother, who should be the guardian of her home. She does not even have any clue that something like that is happening. And that child becomes a slave to sexual abuse, afraid to tell everybody because she has been bullied. I invite all mothers to pray to God to have this quality of a virtuous woman, to be more sensible in the way we lead our home, in the way we guide our home, so we can save our children from evil habits. I have also seen situations whereby the children at home are being taught evil habits by the driver. It is the driver of the parents that was actually teaching the boy how to smoke, how to use marijuana, right there in the garage of the house, in the home. But the parents did not detect anything. They think the driver is just a very good friend to their son. But before they knew what was happening, the son has already gone deep in that evil habit. Yes, the fathers may be so busy, but a virtuous woman is a guardian of our home. Whatever our children become, it is our first responsibilities to know what they are becoming. We are responsible for what they become. We need to do our work. It is as a result of negligence that we have exposed ourselves. A virtuous woman is a guardian of our household, is a guardian of our children. She is the referee that needs to blow the trumpet or blow the whistle and call attention of the husband, call attention of people around and say something is wrong here. We must fix it in this house. This person is causing trouble. But when the mother is so busy, or she's even at home, but she's at home as if she's not there. She is not careful. She is not a guardian. She does not even get herself involved of what is happening around her. There is a cost to the family. She has to also be a guardian to her husband. A virtuous woman is not a guardian to her children alone, but also to her husband. God has blessed women with an instinct to detect when something is wrong, which many men do not exhibit. Women are sensitive to changes in their spouses. This unique gift must be used to protect our husbands from the dangers they do not perceive. The virtuous woman looks to the ways of her husband. This does not mean to police him all around and criticize his action, but to protect him from dangers that he may not see immediately. For example, a married man who with a genuine heart and true consideration tries to help a young lady, maybe a needy church member or somebody in the neighborhood. He is just trying to help such a young lady, maybe by paying our child's school fees or giving her some attentions and counseling her, may not necessarily perceive the risk of exposing himself to the affection of that young lady. It is his virtuous wife who could sense the danger that must sound the alarm before it is too late. Her intention is not to prevent her husband from helping out, but to shield him from potential fall. She does so by coming between him and the young lady. Prayerfully and respectfully, she discusses the potential danger with her husband and proposes a safer way to handle the situation. In this case, she may volunteer to present the gift of school fees to the young lady on behalf of the family. She may make herself available by the side of the husband to counsel, to help, to visit, instead of the husband always exposing himself to come in contact with such a person who may now transfer affection to the man. Many Christian women have ignored warning signs in their relationships until their housemates have taken over their homes and won the affection of their husbands. Some women, through their naivety, have allowed their own friends to steal their husbands from them. A virtuous woman is a true guardian of her husband. Whatever treasure God has given us, including our husbands, we should diligently protect, for we are accountable to God for them. Some women ignore the kind of work their husbands are doing to earn income for the household. As long as he's able to supply the need of the family, it is good. A virtuous woman takes particular interest in the job he does and how it affects his well-being. How is his job affecting his health? Should be the concern of a virtuous woman. Does he need to reduce the hours of work? Or must he change the job completely to enjoy better health? How much is he earning? How does he spend his money? How does he come by those supplies he brings home when he only earns a small monthly income? A virtuous woman, by the wisdom of God, should know the details of her husband's life and activities. She should be accountable for him as well. This attitude is different from abusing and policing the man, or not allowing him a breathing space. It is a loving way of being accountable for our husbands, and we have to do it with the wisdom of God. I met a lady who is living fairly well because the husband is able to supply all her need. They're living in the house. They have all that they need. And she's a housewife. The husband is able to pay the school fees of the children, and whatever she asks the husband is giving. But unfortunately, she does not even know what the husband is doing. The husband pretends to be a supplier of goods. But which kind of good? That she did not know, of course. She's just there. I wonder how a virtuous woman can just be living with a man that she does not even know exactly what the man is doing. The only thing she can say is my husband is a businessman. Yes. What business is he doing? Who are his business partners? This woman does not know all these details. Until one day, the husband was caught. Was caught because he was in a dirty business. And he was handcuffed. And he was taken to the police station. And then the wife was summoned. And then she came. And then she said, what? What is my husband doing here? He said, but you have been eating money. You have been enjoying yourself. And so you don't even know what your husband is doing. That's what the questions the policemen were asking the woman. It is true. This woman, she didn't know anything. Until when the husband was handcuffed. Before she knew that it was a dirty, dirty business. It is our responsibility as virtuous women to know what our husbands are doing for living. In general, a virtuous woman is always on the lookout for anything that will endanger her family. And she's ready to do everything in her power to repulse such things. Even if dangers are the result of some fault of her family members, she prayerfully finds solution to them when possible. A good example is Abigail. The life of her entire household was endangered because of the mean behavior of Nabal, her husband. She could have run away when she learned of the calamity that the foolishness of her husband was bringing upon them. But the Bible says she faced the situation to save her household. Let us examine that situation in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 25. Let's read the story of Mr. and Mrs. Nabal. In the book of 1 Samuel chapter 25 verse 3, the Bible presents the characteristics of Mr. Nabal and Mrs. Abigail Nabal. It reads, now the name of the man was Nabal, and the name of his wife Abigail. And she was a woman of good understanding, of a beautiful countenance. But the man was surly and evil in his doings, and he was of the house of Caleb. The Bible clearly states that Mrs. Abigail Nabal was a virtuous woman, a woman of good understanding who was beautiful inwardly and outwardly. But the husband was a wicked man. David, a fugitive at that time, found himself in the territory of Mr. Nabal. David's men kept Nabal's flock from harm and did good to the man's servants. But David heard that Nabal had organized a feast for his shearers. He sent his men to request for provisions from Nabal's large resources. Nabal's response, as expressed in 1 Samuel chapter 25, verses 10 and 11, was mean and humiliating. He queried, who is this David? And who is this the son of Jesse? There are many servants nowadays that break away each man from his master. Shall I then take my bread and my water and my meat that I have killed for my shearers and give it unto men, whom I know not from where they be? To this response, this insultive response, David decided to take vengeance by destroying the entire household of Nabal. In the midst of the looming crisis came the shining life of the virtuous woman, Abigail. What was Abigail's response to that crisis? David was on his way to destroy Nabal's entire household. But he, a careless, wicked man, was not even aware of the impending danger. It is important to highlight step by step the response of Abigail to this crisis situation. Number one, as the guardian of the home, Abigail acted wisely. In 1 Samuel chapter 25 verse 14, the Bible says, But one of the young men told Abigail, Nabal's wife, saying, Behold, David sent messengers out of the wilderness to greet our master, and he railed at them. It was apparent that Abigail was not present at the time the men of David visited Nabal. The above passage hints us about Abigail's awareness of the tragic situation. How did it happen? It takes a guardian of the home to detect that something went wrong during her absence. It is very possible that Abigail noticed the bewildered countenances of the servants and discerned that something was wrong, and she must act right then. She might have asked the right questions as well to find out the truth about the whole situation, which later informed her right action. So when she came, she must have observed their faces, their countenances, as everybody was just cold, though it was festive moment. But what has happened? Why are your countenances down this way? Has anything happened? Yes, something has happened. The servant explained to her. Yes, our master, a mean man, had insulted David, and we know that David will not take it lightly. Abigail demonstrated a good listening skill. Note the remark of the servant about Nabal in 1 Samuel chapter 25, verse 17. Now therefore know and consider what you will do, for evil is determined against our master and against all his household, for he is such a son of Belial that a man cannot even speak to him. Nabal was referred to as a man whom no one could speak to. That might mean that he did not give himself the opportunity to listen to what others needed to tell him. And secondly, he did not even heed advice given to him. And so when we even go and talk to him, the servant just stayed by. But it took a woman who was a guardian of her home to discover or to detect that there was a serious problem. And then it was a woman who was able to open up, who was approachable. People could approach her. Even her servants were accessible to her. There are some women, because they are rich women, because they have influence, they cage themselves in the walls, that nobody can move closer. Who are you to talk to them? They are above everybody. But sometimes we may need the help of those people we are shouting at. Even a simple housemaid, or a servant, or a driver, or even the gate man may save our life, as this servant saved the life of the entire household of Nabal by telling what has happened to Abigail. That is why a woman of virtue, a virtuous woman, it's a guardian of her own. It's a woman who takes time to listen to others, who do not ridicule people, who do not say, who are they? Who are you to talk to me? It is dangerous when we shut ourselves in by our pride. We must be accessible even to the poor people who are walking by our side because they can save us. This is what happened in the situation of Abigail. Abigail became a mediator between a foolish man and an angry man. Abigail served as a mediator between her husband Nabal and David. Something drastic and immediate had to be done to save not only her life but the lives of all the people in her household. So she acted promptly without telling the husband. The Bible records in 1 Samuel chapter 25 verses 18 and 19 that Abigail made haste and took 200 loaves and 2 skins of wine and 5 sheep already dressed and 5 measures of parched grain and 100 clusters of raisins. Talk about food. And they laid them on donkeys. And she said unto her servant, Go on before me. Behold, I come after you. But she told not her husband. She took enough provisions and made her way to meet angry David before he could get to the house. How did she pacify David and his men? She manifested divine wisdom in her attitude and words when she got to David. The Bible says, when Abigail saw David, she hasted, got off the donkey and fell before David on her face and bowed herself to the ground and fell at his feet and said, Upon me, my Lord, upon me let this iniquity be, and let your maidservant, I pray you, speak in your audience and hear the words of your handmaid. 1 Samuel 25 verses 23 and 24. With wisdom, she humbled herself and bowed to the ground before David. She showed him great respect and spoke with meekness to the heart of angry David. She took the blame for the foolishness of her husband upon herself and pleaded for forgiveness. And through this act of this virtuous woman, lo and behold, David's anger was pacified and the house of Nabal was actually saved. That is the work of every virtuous woman that possesses this spirit of being a guardian of our home. That is why I want you to pray with me at this time. Lord, please help me to be a true guardian of my entire family. Save me from the evil trait of negligence and help me to look well to the ways of my home.